The Bold and the Beautiful spoilers. Thursday, January 26th recap. Douglas discussion, Hope and Steffi private meeting. The Bold and the Beautiful B&B spoilers recap for Thursday, January 26th. Reveals that Thomas Forrester Matthew Atkinson kept pushing for another chance and felt he could save Hope for the future with his contributions. Thomas understood that he'd made mistakes, but he vowed to be the perfectly obedient older brother from now on. However, Steffi Forrester Jacqueline McInnes Wood wanted to be able to rely on Thomas and trust his judgment. Steffi reflected on the brother that Thomas used to be and wanted him back, the guy who always tried to do the right thing growing up. Both Steffi and Thomas got emotional as he sincerely apologized. Thomas wanted to be better and become the rock that Steffi could lean on. After Thomas promised he'd work tirelessly to become that man, he once again pushed for another chance. It was one thing for Thomas to be punished, but he didn't think Hope Spencer's Annika Noel line should be punished as well. Thomas insisted that Hope for the future needed him. In the design office on Thursday is B&B episode. Paris Buckingham Diamond White acknowledged that Thomas had burned a lot of bridges, but he was also one of the most acclaimed designers out there. That critics' review was bad news for Hope for the future, but Paris thought Thomas could make some updates. If anyone could bring Hope's line back from the brink, it was Thomas. Hope pointed out that Thomas' role in the company wasn't up to her. Steffi and Ridge Forrester Torsten K had to decide what Thomas' future at the company would be. After Hope asked how Paris felt about the situation, Paris said Thomas was an extremely creative and talented man. According to Paris, Thomas definitely understood what women found appealing. It wasn't Paris' goal, but she felt that fashion was about breaking rules and pushing boundaries. Thomas went too far with his efforts to reunite his parents, but that was the kind of passion that made his work so successful. Hope admitted she was torn since she'd sworn she'd never work with Thomas again to protect her family. At the same time, Hope cared about her career and had a responsibility to the customers as well as all the people who worked on the line. With that in mind, Hope didn't know what to do. Back with Steffi, she told Thomas they shouldn't be having this conversation with Ridge gone. Thomas felt there was no time to lose and pushed to help. Once Hope interrupted, Thomas offered an apology for all the pain he'd caused and showed her his sketches. Although Thomas couldn't fix all the problems he'd created, he thought he could make a big difference for the collection, and he at least owed Hope that. While Hope was meeting with Steffi alone, Thomas found Paris in the design office and expressed hope that he'd be back to work on the line soon. As for Steffi, she wondered if Hope was asking her to rehire Thomas on Hope for the future. Hope pointed out it was business and couldn't be personal, even if she hated feeling conflicted like this. Steffi said Thomas wasn't going to learn anything if they never held him accountable, but she also knew Hope had her line to consider. Hope trusted Thomas' talent, but that was as far as it went for her. Steffi reminded Hope that she floated the idea of Thomas designing without coming into the office and asked if that's what she was suggesting. Hope honestly didn't know, so Steffi said they needed to figure out what this meant and what kind of message it would send Thomas. Since Thomas had been given so many chances with no real consequences, Steffi still had concerns. As Thomas eavesdropped outside the door, Hope said they also had to face the fact that Thomas' talent was a very big part of Hope for the future's success. Steffi thought Hope was saying that in order for Hope for the future to succeed, they needed Thomas and his designs. Thomas looked pensive as he continued listening in on the conversation. At the Cliff House, John Finnegan, Tanner Novlan let Douglas Forrester, Henry Joseph Samory and Kelly Spencer Sophia Paras McKinley borrow his stethoscopes for Kelly's sick dolls. The kids were having fun when Liam Spencer Scott Clifton arrived to pick up Douglas since Kelly was coming back to the cabin in a few days. Douglas asked to stay a bit longer, So Liam let him play in the other room and took a moment to catch up with Finn. Liam opened up about what a great kid Douglas was and how he loved him just as much as Kelly or Beth Spencer Jordan Lean Oriza. After Liam praised Finn as an amazing stepdad to Kelly, Finn was sure that Douglas felt the same way about Liam. Liam just wanted Douglas to feel supported since he hadn't been able to count on Thomas. There was talk about everything Douglas had been through, including his mother dying when he was so young. Liam reflected on Hope stepping up to be Douglas' fill-in mom and hated that Douglas got caught up in another one of Thomas' schemes. If there was any justice, Liam said that Thomas would learn that actions have consequences. Once Liam talked about how wonderful it was having Douglas back at the cabin, he said they were doing their best to give Douglas a happy, healthy, loving and secure home. Finn acknowledged that meant a home away from Thomas, so Liam nodded in agreement. Afterward, Douglas was ready to go, but he hoped maybe he could come back to the Cliff House after school tomorrow. After Douglas thanked Uncle Finn for letting him hang out there, Finn insisted they were happy to have him any time. The Bold and the Beautiful spoilers say Thomas will hope for another chance with Douglas as well, so we'll see if he gets one soon. Thank you for watching and stay with us for more update videos.